What's up, loopers? My name is Matt McCoy. I'm an Ableton Live certified trainer. And today I'm going to show you one of our templates that we have in our shop called the Advanced Ableton Worship Template. So all you have to do is go to loopcommunity.com, go to our store and go to templates, and you'll find the Advanced Ableton template here for $20. Once you download that to your computer, you can load it in Ableton Live. And it's really important to know that this template is only compatible with Live Standard and Live Suite. So if you have Live Intro, this template will not work for you. So once you've downloaded the template, let's go and look at Ableton Live. I'm gonna actually walk you through what is included inside of this template. Let's just start from looking from left to right, okay? So over here, under track 1, we have pads. What we've included in the template are a bunch of pads that you can use to maybe add a click to it, play on top of it, or maybe use for a transition. We added a pad in every key. So there's one in A flat, there's one in B, C. So we gave you a pad in every single key. These pads are pretty long. They go for like 6 minutes at a time. The next track over, we gave you dynamic clicks. So basically, if you don't want to use the built-in Ableton metronome like this, you could use the dynamic click that's included here, and this is like the loop community click sound. We gave you a couple ones that were already created, so we have one in 2/8, we have one in 4/4. These are Midi clips, so if you wanted to add your own, you could double click, and then now you have a new Midi clip, and you could actually draw in your own metronome time signature if you need to. So those are dynamic clicks that you can use. Over here, next to dynamic click, track 3 is dynamic cues. So we also gave you cue sounds that you could use to trigger cues dynamically. I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit with the Loop Dimmist controller.
Verse.
So these are just cues like this.
Chorus. Turnaround. Verse. Bridge. Chorus.
Just different cues that you can trigger at any time. Then we put in a couple tracks here for if you're using maybe split tracks. So if you download a split track and so all you have is a cue file, a stereo file, or maybe you have a split file like split left, split right, you can put all those here. I'm going to show you how to do that in a second. And then we have a group of tracks for all your multi-tracks where you could put individual wave files for each instrument. At the very end of the Advanced Ableton template, we have MIDI cues that you can use for triggering ProPresenter. So if you're into wanting to trigger all your lyrics while you're running along with your tracks, you can use these ProPresenter MIDI clips to trigger ProPresenter. We have a couple of videos that go deeper into that, of how to actually connect Ableton Live to ProPresenter. So if you're interested in that, check out our videos on that. But this template gives you everything you need to go ahead and start triggering ProPresenter. So here's what we're going to do. We're actually just going to I'm going to show you how you could use some of these things and customize this template to make it work for whatever it is that your setup is, because everybody runs tracks a little differently. So what I'm going to do is at the very top, I'm actually going to go create insert scene, and we're going to drag that scene to the very top, and I'm just going to add a bunch more scenes. So I'm going to use Command I, and that's going to add more scenes for me. All right, and we're just going to make a set list here. I'm going to rename these and just clear those out because we don't need to be, we don't need those names. All right, so now I'm going to use, I'm going to create a set list using those empty scenes. Now let's just say, you know, let's go and bring in a song. So we're going to bring in our first song, and let's just say it's a split track. I have split tracks, all right? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my cues right here into the cue track. And then if I have a stereo track, you could bring in the stereo file here, and I could call this scene Forever Rain. And then 83 BPM. So let's hit play.
Intro. 2.
So I've got
3,
my cues.
4.
I've got my stereo tracks playing. Let's just pretend I didn't even have stereo tracks, but I only had a split file. Well, what I could do is get rid of the cue file, and let's just bring in the split. I'm going to put one on the left side and one on the right side. You'll notice that the left side is panned left, which means it's only going to listen to the left side of that split file. This track is panned right, which means it's only going to listen to the right side of that split file. So let's go ahead and hit play.
Intro. 2, 3, 4.
So now I have a split track that's actually panned separately. Now again, this all really depends on what kind of files you have, where you download your files, if you have splits, if you have stereo, if you have multi-tracks. This template is supposed to cover all these different scenarios. So let's just say that's my first song. Let's say my second song I actually have multi-tracks. I'm going to bring my multi-tracks into this group here. You can collapse that group if you need to. Let's go and grab a multi-track. We're going to do Lion and the Lamb. And so I'm going to bring in my cues. I'm going to actually create a track right here by just going Insert Audio Track. And I'm going to rename this track. I'm going to call it Cues. I'm going to load in my cues on this track. It's going to be on the second line because this is Lion and the Lamb, semicolon, and then the tempo of the song, which is 90 BPM. Okay. So I've got my cues here. Now I'm going to bring in my instruments. We named all these for you, but you could rename them to whatever works best for you. It might be nice to keep everything, where they actually go. So for example, piano is going to go here, bass is going to go here, electric lead, might go here, the other guitar might go here if you have choir or vocals, pad's going to go here, the loop here. You kind of get the idea. And you could add a bunch of tracks if you wanted. Like, you don't have to be limited just to these. That's what's cool about this version of Live, is you can add as many tracks as you want here. So let's go ahead and hit play. Now on this row, I'm playing all of my multi-tracks, which are in this group.
Intro 2, 3, 4.
What's nice about tracks being in groups is that then you can do custom audio routing for the group, so you could actually send everything in a group out a specific output. Okay, so that's great. Now let's just say, my third song, maybe I just want to do a pad. So I'm going to actually just bring this pad up right here. It's going to be in the key of A. All right, we're going to call this, pad. And we're doing a song. Maybe it's Lord, I Need You, right? We're going to do it at 72 BPM. So now after Lion and the Lamb, I can trigger my pad, and I have a click at 72 BPM. And I can play Lord, I Need You. Now again, if you were wanting to use the dynamic click, you could just drag this up into the dynamic click spot, and then now you have a dynamic click. Basically, it's a different click sound. You could customize it by drawing in the MIDI notes there if you needed to. But I'm not going to use that for now. Cool, now I could just keep adding all my tracks in here in these groups if I needed to. Again, also with ProPresenter, if I'm using the ProPresenter clips, I can use these slides, these MIDI clips here, to trigger the slides for my song. So I would probably create a MIDI clip here and call it Lion and the Lamb. Or sorry, this is my first song, it's Forever Rain. And in this MIDI clip, I would go ahead and draw in all my ProPresenter cues of when I want my slides to change. So you can use this template to go ahead and kind of configure that. All right, the other thing you could do is, let's just say I want to actually trigger those dynamic cues during a song, all right? Like, let's just say I want to trigger outro or turnaround, all right? What I can do is I'm going to use the Looptimus controller. I'm going to go to Live and Preferences and make sure my Looptimus is seen under MIDI, and it is, under Remote. I'm going to go to Midi Map, and I'm going to map my Looptimus controller. First of all, we're going to map it to our songs. So Forever Rain is going to be song button 1. Lion and the Lamb is button 2. Song 3, which is my pad, is button 3. The stop button is going to be stop. And then I can actually assign these dynamic cues to maybe something inside of All Access Bank. So maybe my turnaround is going to be this button, and outro is going to be this button. And that's it. So now I can go ahead and trigger my songs using button 1 on Looptimus. Let me go and close this out so we can have a bigger view.
Intro 2.
It's going to play
3,
Forever Rain.
4.
If I want to trigger, for some reason, the dynamic cue, I could hold All Access
Turn around.
and trigger that dynamic cue
Turn around.
as many times as I want,
Turn around.
whenever I want to.
Outro.
Those cues could be anything. We actually have a cue pack in here that you could add other dynamic cues as well. Or you could record your own, which is kind of cool.
2.
if you wanted to say like bring it down. And then I can go to song 2. And of course stops everything. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of what the advanced Ableton template is and how it's laid out and how you can use all the features that we've built into that. So check it out at loopcommunity.com/shop and you can download the advanced Ableton template. Enjoy.